Okay, so let's talk about something that's so important but often gets overlooked. What happens after someone finishes a support program? That next step. It's honestly the most critical part of the whole journey. So, in this explainer, we're going to walk through a brand new strategy for an aftercare program. It's basically a plan to give that next chapter a really clear, connected, and powerful structure.
And boom, this right here gets straight to the heart of it. The main goal isn't just about what they're doing, it's about how they're doing it. So we're talking structured follow-ups, real, meaningful engagement, and clear accountability. The big idea? To build a support system that's just stronger, more connected for every single person making that transition.
All right, so where does this whole new journey kick off? Well, it all starts with a brand new, official first step. They're calling it the graduation. And this is the graduation session. You can totally think of it as the official starting line. Yeah, it's a moment to celebrate, for sure. But what's even more important is that it's all about creating total clarity. You've got the client, their new mentor, the whole roadmap. Everybody gets together so they all start this next chapter on the exact same page. No confusion.
Okay, now this is what I find really cool about this whole setup. Check out this timeline. The structure kicks in immediately. I mean, from day zero, you have these consistent, planned check-ins. It starts with daily calls, then an in-person review a couple weeks in, and then it moves into regular monthly support. The key takeaway here, the whole system is proactive, right? They're not waiting for a problem to pop up.
So you might be wondering, where did all this come from? It's not like they just made it up out of thin air. It's actually built on two really solid pillars. First, the good work they were already doing. And second, some powerful new insights from the people who know this journey best, the former residents and their mentors. So first up, they took the foundational beliefs that were already in their aftercare handbook and really sharpened them into these four core principles. These aren't brand new ideas, right? It's the philosophy that was already driving the work. This new strategy just makes them the official, explicit bedrock of the entire program. And then, for the second pillar, and this is so important, to make sure this whole thing is grounded in reality and not just some theory on paper, they had to ask this one critical question. And to get the answer, they went straight to the source, insights from really in-depth interviews with mentors. And wow, the findings were just crystal clear. It showed them exactly where they needed to focus their energy. We're talking about the common risks people face, those gaps in confidence, the super practical stuff like housing and work, and that really deep human need for social connection. This is what it looks like when support is shaped by actual lived experience.
Okay, so we've got a solid foundation. But how do you make sure all these different parts and people stay connected? That's what this next section is all about, making sure everyone's on the same page and nobody's working off in their own little silo.
One of the key pieces to this puzzle is a new formal oversight role. This is going to be filled by the outreach director. Think of this person as having the bird's eye view, Their job is to keep the big picture vision on track and, crucially, to connect all the different teams.
And let's be super clear about what this role is and what it isn't. The outreach director's job is to support, monitor, and connect the team. They're the bridge, right? Linking up aftercare, the mentors, the community partners. What they are not doing is replacing the folks on the ground or duplicating work. It's all about making sure everyone is pulling in the same direction with the same high quality and consistency. All right, the other secret weapon for keeping everyone connected? Technology. But, and this is a big but, the whole strategy is to keep it super simple. We're not talking about adding some complex new software or a bunch of red tape. It's all about using simple, lightweight tools to make working together and tracking progress completely seamless. And just by using simple things like online forms, look at all the benefits you get. Less paperwork for one. Information is visible to the whole team, which means way better continuity of care and less chance of people working in silos. And here's the best part. It lets the team focus their time and energy on what really matters, the people, not the paperwork. Okay, this next part is, I think, genuinely exciting because this is where we see a fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving the aftercare program away from just managing risk to actively building aspiration. So what does that look like? Well, the program is now actively creating these purposeful pathways. And these aren't just vague ideas. They're tangible, forward-looking opportunities. We're talking about things like partnerships with employers, volunteering roles, structured social groups, things that give clients a real, positive future they can actually step into.
And this is where that outreach director role comes back in. It's such a perfect example of their job as a connector. They're the ones who will be out there building these partnerships, finding the right opportunities, and then, and this is key, making sure they're matched carefully to where each client is at in their journey. The goal is to support recovery, not overwhelm it. All right, so we've got a structure, we've got a vision, but how do we know if it's actually working? How does a program like this stay accountable? Well, this final section is all about that. How they're going to measure success and make sure it's delivering on its promise. Their number one top-line metric is this: 75%. That's the goal. They want at least 3/4 of their clients to stay engaged with the Aftercare program for a full year after they exit. It's ambitious, for sure, but it's also crystal clear. That level of long-term connection is seen as the absolute key to success. It's basically the program's North Star. And it's not just about that one number. Alongside that big goal, they'll be tracking other key things, like housing stability and employment, reducing relapse events, getting positive feedback. And what's really smart is they've built in a regular review cycle. So they'll do quick reviews every quarter and then a big deep dive once a year to make sure they're always learning and improving. Honestly, if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this quote right here. It perfectly captures the spirit of the whole strategy. It's a huge shift, moving away from just playing defense to being forward-looking and aspirational. So when you put it all together, what do you get? You get a program that's built on its strengths to become more human, more connected, more measurable, and one that can actually evolve over time. But that first one, human, that really feels like the most important part of all. So I'll leave you with this final thought. A strategy, it's just a roadmap. Its success always comes down to the people who bring it to life. And it kind of raises a question for all of us, doesn't it? How can you help bring this kind of vision to life? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.